Hi, everybody. Welcome on in. It's T1D Tuesday. As you know, it's our weekly streaming series where we chat all things T1D with people that either have T1D or are affected by T1D or experts in the field. And I'm really excited for today's guest. And I know I say that every time. You probably could do a mashup of me saying I'm really excited for today's guest over and over and over again. But I really am because it's somebody I've never really talked to before who all of a sudden popped up on a random Saturday doing a charity stream for us that raised a ton of money in a really niche way for Breakthrough T1D. So it was super exciting. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit more about your origin story?
Yeah, my name's Chris. I guess I ended up here based off of what we did with a charity stream with independent electronic music.
So cool.
Um, that was cool. I've been like a lifelong type 1 diabetic. I believe I was diagnosed when I was about 5 years old.
Wow.
So like it's kind of almost twofold. So not only am I like into the music scene and raising money for charity with, electronic music, but also I've lived this life for many years. I'm pretty old, so I get a lot of experience, I guess, in both aspects that have brought us to this point.
Yes, we love it. Um, and you said you've been a type 1 diabetic since you were 5 years old.
Yeah, I have like one of my this is gonna sound weird, but one of my like most vivid childhood memories, because they always say you don't
Of
remember what happens when
course.
you're a kid. I remember being like, I don't know the exact age or whatever, but it was around Thanksgiving, and I remember being like super thirsty and like, the telltale signs, but like at the
Mm-hmm.
time when I was, young, nobody would know this. My
You weren't
parents
really
knew
the
because
telltale yet.
right, yeah, there was no, oh, I've heard of that type of thing between like friends or peers, or maybe, you could read on Google, there was no internet.
Right.
So yeah, it was, I knew, I remember like going on drives in my parents' car and they would put the windows down to like try to like relax me or whatever because of that. Maybe it
Sure.
was like an element of like denial, or they just didn't want it to be true or didn't know or whatever. Because, again, at the time, it wasn't as commonly shared or commonly recognized as it is
Right.
now. So, but yeah, that's kind of how that went. I went to the hospital soon after that,
Oh
and
my God. How long were you in the hospital?
it was I want to say a couple days.
Couple days. Do you
It
remember
wasn't
what your
like
levels were?
no, I don't.
Oh,
Like I said, it's been a while. I mean, they were obviously high, but like, I
yeah.
don't know if I hear stories now where people are like, oh, my blood sugar is like
It
600.
wasn't
And I'm like, how are
DKA?
you? I don't, yeah, I mean, obviously I had to have been diagnosed it, but I mean, I was conscious. It wasn't like a thing where I
Sure.
was like
Got
out
it.
of it, right?
Got
Like
it.
my parents, again, they were medical people, so they knew, like
Oh,
they
that's a
they
relief.
knew to get me seen or
Something
whatever.
was
So
wrong.
like, yeah, something was very wrong. It was
Yeah.
very telltale, and like, again, if I wouldn't have been as lucky having them know what they know, it probably would have been worse. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So.
Oh my God. 5 years old. Had your parents encountered anyone else in your family or friends that had type 1 diabetes at that point?
I mean, I would assume maybe friends. Like there was nobody in the
Sure.
family. Like I said, mine was
Yeah.
a virus. I got sick, and that was that. Like it was the freak, like 5% chance
Wow.
of all cases, and that was what hit me, I guess. So I'm assuming
Jeez.
that they knew people. Obviously, working, as a nurse or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see things, obviously. So I'm sure again that they knew, and they knew people who were affected by it. So
Do you have any siblings?
I have a sister.
And she doesn't have type 1? No.
No, there's literally like no genetic trace
Wow.
in any of my
Have you guys
bloodline, I
ever
guess
gotten
to say.
screened?
For like genetically wise,
Yeah.
not for that specific, no.
No.
But again, it's never there's literally no type 1 or
Yeah.
type
That's
2 outside of
crazy.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
You're
a
the anomaly.
freak.
You're unique.
Yeah, right. We'll
I
go
don't
with
think
that. That
you're not
works.
a freak.
No, unique. Unique is good.
Unique is good. Unique is good. Although it would be nice. The joke around here, Chris, is make Monique lose her job.
Oh, okay. I mean,
So, and I'm
we are
fine
we
with
are kind
that.
of underground music, so yeah.
I would love to lose my job if type 1 diabetes wasn't a problem anymore. That'd be
Well,
fine with me.
I'm trying. We're trying.
Thank
We're
you.
doing
Try
doing what we
harder.
can.
Okay.
It's been a 3 year thing now. We're trying.
Okay, yes. So let's talk a little bit more about the event you hosted,
Yeah.
Beats for a Broken World. Because, like I said off camera, this is not a space that I exist in, and I went down a rabbit hole to learn more about it. So let's hear more about your passion project, and then obviously Beats for a Broken World.
Well, I decided to start a an independent record label a few years ago. It started on the electronic subgenre of like vaporwave music, which is effectively like 80s R&B, early 90s music that's slowed down and reverbed or chopped up, and it's I guess a morally gray area. But the thing is a lot of people just release music because they like it. They don't sell it, so
Sure.
it's you can view it how you want to view it, if it's right or wrong morally or whatever. But my I guess the reason why I say that is always because like we artists within the scene borrow a lot from other people. We can say that, right? So it's
Sure.
always a thing
Yeah.
to me that like I want to give back to people. So, yeah, after I want to say it was probably our second year in operations, I was like, hey, we should do like a charity release. Let's press a couple records and make a couple cassettes and CDs. And we can use all these guys, these vaporwave guys who are either making original music or sampled music and whatever, and we can just donate everything we make to a charity. And then I believe it was me and my wife at the time were like, hey, let's we need a name and we need a charity to go to. And they both kind of hit at the same time. So it was like Blood Sugar Beats was
Oh
that was it kind of worked because it was like it was a
yeah.
play on our name. It was it was a play on the diagnosis of diabetes and whatever. So like I
Right.
think everyone kind of knows the whole blood sugar thing. So we
Hmm.
did, we did tapes, we did records, we gathered all these artists that I've worked with and other ones that I invited or who wanted to help out. And it was really weird because like it was a success, a pretty big success. Like I think the first two runs of it oddly enough, I think all three editions, both the physical releases and the live stream, all kind of ended up raising like $3,000, which
Yeah.
to me, like I can only measure our donations against what other people in our scene are doing, and like to what I see frequently, that was higher, which made me very happy. And like not to brag, because it doesn't, that's not what it's about. Because
Yeah.
every little bit helps, but like being as successful as it is, but then having the feedback from people in the scene who bought the records or watched the stream, and he's like, "Hey man, I love what you're doing. My sister has type 1 or blah,
Yeah.
just various messages from people about how like they wanted to come out and support because of how it has affected them.
Right.
Uh, so we did the first 2 years of physical releases, and I was like, hey, Brick Mason in chat was we've been wanting to like kind of expand more into this vaporwave scene of like live streaming and like
Hmm.
live shows and whatever. Like we don't like live stream per se, but we were like, hey, let's do a URL festival, which is effectively like an online concert or an
Right.
online festival, whatever you want to call that.
Hmm.
So you gather up your people that you want to play. We worked again with me, Brick, and my friend Bruce, and we all kind of pulled artists that we work with. So it was coming from three different like areas of within the scene. So there was a little bit of like original electronic music, some vaporwave stuff, and then some like more original like house music type stuff. And it
Hmm.
was like, okay, we
Hmm.
can work with this. Like let's try it out. And that was kind of how the idea was born, just to see if we could do it. And again, we needed a name and we needed a charity, and we just kind of came back to Beats for a Broken World. I wanted to do Beats for a Better World, but we were like,
Mm.
man, let's go with the let's go with the meme name. It'll at least give people something to remember, I
Yeah.
guess.
Hey, I remember
So
that.
yeah, there you go. I
Um,
mean,
I think
it worked.
the other really cool piece about live streaming it is there's so much great art and video.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit more about that piece of it?
Okay.
Because people, I
So
mean, I'm assuming not everybody has some sort of video or something to release with their music.
sure, right. Okay, so like I guess in our part of the internet or whatever you want
Mhm.
to call it, our scene, people will do these URL events, and it is like a combination of musical and video artists, right? So there are people who make video chops and video edits who don't make music, and then there's people who make music who have no idea how to use video editing, right?
Right.
So like some do, and the ones I mean, like my personal perception is a lot of the time that if you're making your own visuals to go along with the music that you put together, it's a more I don't say intimate experience because that's not always true,
Sure.
but you can see that there's more like a personal connection, or at
Right.
least not all the time, but I tend to notice it. But
Hmm.
and if not, the people who don't do that, we'll set them up with visual artists. So like, somebody will finish their musical set, their 20-30 minute set, whatever, and then they'll send it over to the visual artist. And now at the same time as having like a more intimate perception of video editing or
Hmm.
expression rather, now you're giving your work off to somebody else so they can pick up on a interpretation of what you've made. So that can also turn into cool things. So like
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff just ends up being collaborations between visual, audio, et cetera, et cetera. And like that sometimes makes some very magical stuff. Like there's a few sets that from this past event, the Beats for a Broken World, that I was like, I don't know what the intent of making music and I didn't know the intent of making the visuals, but when it came together, like it was like powerful, like really good stuff. So like I
Yeah.
guess you got to roll the dice and take the chances sometimes on it, but like it really can pay off if done
It
well.
was
If
so
somebody gets
cool.
it, right.
It was a very immersive experience from start to
I
finish. I loved it.
well, thank you. I'm glad. I mean, it's it was the first time I think any of us have ever done anything like live streaming like that at all. Like it
Mm,
was the first time we've done live donations and live live events and organizing 30 some artists or whatever it was and trying to schedule it and contact these people and checking up on them. I mean, it's a lot of
yeah.
work, but like it was awesome. I still like, I tell these guys that I did this event with, I'm like, hey man, I go back to these YouTube VODs of this stuff and I watch them almost weekly sometimes. Like it was just
It was good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of good stuff.
Really a lot of talented people. Also, we have Cassette Cash in
Yes.
chat.
That was my
Legend.
other
Hello. I found that voiceover on Instagram. I don't know if you guys saw that. I was like, I gotta post this. That was
Oh, did
great.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I
He
invited
that
you to Beats for a Broken World.
So it's funny because like another aspect of this that I guess I should talk about is like I know it was just said it was a bunch of collaborations, but like working with Brick and Cassette Cash again, there was like this level of knowledge to share because like none of us knew that we could host. Like I've worked in radio and I've done this stuff, so I know I can carry on if I need to.
Hmm.
And Cassette Cash has probably one of the best like radio voices
It's
I've
great
ever
radio
heard.
voice.
It's
Yes.
incredible. Like we
Yeah.
tell him this all the time. He's like, no, no, no. I'm like, dude, it's real. Like it's, and Brick is like the community guy. So it's like I don't I don't really reach out to like people in the way that he does. Like he's very
Hmm.
make relationships, build relationships, make friends. And I'm more of like I don't want to say introvert, but I value privacy to an extent. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. Like I
Hmm.
don't go out of my way to like to do things, to like set up
Yeah.
meet, that type of stuff. So it was like all three of us kind of pulled together to do what we could do. And it was actually awesome because I knew if we floundered, if me and Britt couldn't do the chat, that I knew Cassette Cash could do it because he's got the voice. Like people
Yeah.
would just listen for that voice alone. If all he had to do was say like who was playing and who did the visuals, then we'd
It
be
would
all
work.
right. So
Yeah.
like yeah. So it all kind of everything was just very team effort and everyone helped everyone.
I think this is a great inadvertently, I know we were supposed to talk about more type 1 diabetes, but it also is kind of a, recap of how an event like this goes and what all goes into it. And it
Right,
makes me
right.
wonder, like, thinking ahead, are things that you would do differently?
Uh, in to be honest, the only thing that I think that I would do differently is transitions between each individual set. Because like
Mhm.
we had a timeline, and obviously you always run behind. It's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Like I feel like
Yes.
everyone kind of accepts that.
Yeah.
But like I would have preferred a looping video or maybe like a playlisted video because that's what we had. We just had 6 or 7 hour video files that were just playing and pausing and coming in and out. So like I feel
Oh,
that I could make
sure.
video transitions smoother or like
Yeah.
loop the interludes between sets. I think that was really my only like
Some more production.
yeah, just a little bit. Well, again, that was the first time. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
used OBS in the past to like set up and record, but like not like that. That was the first
No.
time that I had
Yeah.
ever used that to that extent. So
I don't
like
think I could have
no,
done that.
I
So,
mean, it was a learning experience, so it worked. I mean
yeah.
that, but overall, it was very good. It was good. We had one of the guys who played in the show was the one who set up the donation links. Like I had no idea how to do that. I
Oh,
didn't know it was a
nice.
thing. Like I
Okay,
knew that
cool.
it worked, but I didn't know. He was like, "Yeah, I'll run it in the background," and it was like I remember at one point on Saturday we had like surpassed the goal. And we're like, "Hey, change it, change it, change it." And he didn't like wake up until like 3 hours after the fact, and I was
Then
like,
he
"Oh my
had to change it
God." So,
later.
but again, not knowing, it's fine. Like it's a
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
experience, and it's not something that really affected how well something went.
Yeah, no, I love that you said that because I think a lot of people when they try to host a charity stream, they get overwhelmed by a lot of the details and if things don't go exactly right, when that's kind of
Right.
like the point of it is to raise awareness and just do your part as you can. So I
Yeah,
love that you take it
exactly.
like that because that means a lot.
I was gonna say like one of the things is if you're going live, it's gonna happen. So
Yeah,
you make the best of it, like and see what
yeah.
do your best and make it entertaining. So
Right. I think that's the key too. And it doesn't need to be a whole production. It just can be you being yourself, being entertaining, doing something different. There was someone that said recently, like when you do a charity stream, especially if you're a streamer already, it's really just kind of doing the same thing, but just with a little bit of extras. And I like to think
right,
about it like that because it doesn't have to be something huge. But Beats Your
right.
Broken World was huge, though. Like, let's be real.
It was
Let's
good.
be clear.
It's good. It was
Um,
very good.
yes, it was very good. Well, does that mean you guys are going to be doing it again next year? Am I
It's a
going to find about it
possibility.
on a random
You
Saturday?
know, this happens every year. I'm like, man, I don't want to do it again because it was so
Yeah,
much work. And then I
it's a
do it.
lot of
It's like,
work.
man, I don't want to do it again. And then we do something totally different, which was like the same amount of work. And I was like, I always say this,
Yeah,
so maybe
yeah,
we. I feel like we did this in 3 months or something, which I don't know. Maybe that's a lot of time for people who are used to this, but for us, it was like
not enough.
fine. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I can't say
Yeah.
it wasn't enough because it worked, but like people in the music scene can be very like antsy, like, oh, I need more time to do a
Mm.
set, more time to make music. And it's just like, oh yeah, you don't, it doesn't have to
Is
be.
it like
It's not,
perfectionism? Like, what do you think?
I maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of
Mm.
like procrastination too. Like, I mean, I
Mm.
do it as well, so I'm not like innocent from this, but
Yeah,
if you push enough, people will come through. I've learned that. And then some people will do it
right,
in like an hour, you know what I mean?
right.
So it's just part of the game, I guess.
Best URL event of all time. Duh, duh.
I mean, it's hard to argue.
It is hard to argue.
You see, you're
I've
like,
never
you're
seen
hyping me up.
another one. So
It
I,
was also very, it was unique because a lot of the, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of events that like will use like a donation link to a personal cause. So you see a lot of stuff with like the
Oh,
Trevor Project or like things that are very
mhm.
personal to them. And like it's weird because you don't see diabetes represented in our scene like ever. And to me, it's very personal. So that's,
Yeah.
I thought it was also unique in that sense that we were, no discredit to any other charity or anyone doing
Oh,
work
yeah,
for
of
the,
course.
but for us, it was like, we're going to stand apart a little bit.
I love that. Yeah, that's really cool. That makes a lot of sense. And also now I've learned a lot about vaporwave, URL events. It's all of these words now I'm adding to my lexicon. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit more about type 1 diabetes because that's,
Sure.
I guess, why we're here and why our worlds have collided.
Right,
Um,
right.
so you talked a little bit earlier how you had kind of known about JDRF. What was your first experience with JDRF? Was it through this or was it
Well, yeah,
prior?
it was through this. I don't
Wow.
know, I guess maybe I'm like very unique in regards to like my I was raised to understand what was wrong with me. So I've never needed to like reach out for assistance and help or
Right.
whatever. But that's not to say that I don't support everything that they do and want to help. So
Yeah.
yeah, the first time I had heard of JDRF was when we were doing the first compilation
Wow.
album, and it was like, hey, again, personal issue. They have a very good rating. Let's look more into them, blah, blah, blah. We do our research on the back end too. So it's not
Yeah.
just, picking from, the first thing on Google. Like we want to make sure our work and our money or whatever you want to call it, donations are going to the right place.
Yeah. Heck
So
yeah. I love to hear that. Um, and I will say, I've worked for a lot of nonprofits, and I've said this before on stream, so people have probably already heard it. This is probably the one that I've noticed the most actual change with,
okay.
on something specifically. And this is the first one that I've really, you see a lot of the progress happening in real time, and it's
Yeah, yeah.
all of a sudden happening very fast. Well,
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like maybe I don't know if we're coming from the same element here, but like even just like in the treatment of type one, it's
yes,
been staggering. Like within like the last 5 years, even,
yes.
or from my perception at least. So
Yeah, and you've seen it all. You've gone the
I mean,
spectrum.
when I was diagnosed, like we had N and or R and NPH, and that was it. Like you had like
Wow.
the urine strips and like glucometers were still early. Like I
Oh my
remember
God.
way back then, it was like the
Yeah.
strips, and I was just like, man, this is like gross. I don't know.
At
Like
what
as a
point did
kid,
you
you're just
at what
so go
point did you
ahead.
switch over? Like what do you use now?
I mean, right now I use a CGM and I use a Dexcom and a
XM.
Omnipod. So
Nice. When did you
that's
start that?
been I don't maybe. I learned of okay, it's probably been a couple years. I think I've been on this for about 2 years now.
Wow,
But
yeah.
before that, I had been on the freestyle system. So like,
Got it.
I don't know, I want to say back in like 2000 and let's say 2009, 2010, I was in like a living situation that I wasn't exactly like happy with or wasn't good for me.
Mm,
So I was still doing like test strips and like insulin shots like twice a day.
yeah.
I didn't know, and this is what I'm saying. I don't know if it was my perception is skewed, just because I didn't know any better that like this technology had already existed, or if it's
Hmm.
just within the past 5 years it's come up and just been kind of life changing. But like I lived a very long time of my life just off of like one touch test strips
Yeah.
and an R insulin for the good majority of my
And
life.
that's what you knew early on too.
That was
Well,
well, I mean, that was all
yeah.
I knew. I didn't know
Yeah.
any different. I had never been to like an endo. I had never been to like, just doctors outside of normal appointments. I'd always been
Wait,
well
really?
regulated.
You
Yeah,
had
like
never
I
gone to an
never,
endo?
not until I started like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow. Oh, that's
So
so
like,
interesting.
I mean, again, like my parents were medical
Yeah.
professionals, so it was installed that like you have to take
Right.
care of this. And like, as a kid, you hate it, right? Like I hated it. Like
Yeah,
I
of
remember always
course.
complaining and like this is annoying. I don't want shots, blah blah blah. You
Yeah,
know, and it's
yeah.
like, they'd be always telling me you could be blind, and it's like, yeah, you're right. And like that sucks for people who are disabled in that regard. But it's like, yeah, it can always be worse. Like that. I think that's the
Right.
lesson
That's
that
also
I
hard
would
for a
take
kid to
away from it.
understand, to wrap their head
It is.
around. Like they
It
could be
right. When
blind.
you're like 10
Yeah.
years old and such, like
Right.
you don't understand. Yeah. But I mean, like the seriousness of it was always very real. Like
That.
I never it's weird to me because I can hear people who don't treat or don't take shots or just don't want to and
Yeah.
things like that. And like I didn't like I don't know how you could live like that. Because like when my blood sugar is high, even like now, it's like I'm miserable. Like I don't want to do
Right.
anything. Like
Yeah.
if like it was just weird to me. Like
Built
I've
different.
always I mean, I can't say that it was like treated like 100%. Like I want to say my A1C was probably hovering around like 7 when it was just self like 7 to 8-ish. So it wasn't like terrible, but it wasn't like fantastic. But then
Right.
again, I guess my perception of what
That's
I
still good
feel
though.
comfortable. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Wow, that's so
uh,
interesting. I think you're actually the first person that I've talked to that's had type 1 for a long time that didn't have an endo until
really,
recently.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know. Like I had no idea. Like I'd always just seen like it only get weird when I come moved back from the situation that I was in where like I was seeing like a primary care and I was like, hey, I
Yeah.
need insulin. And they're like, we're not supposed to be doing this. And I was like, yeah, but I need it. You know what I mean? Like so
So also it was your primary care provider being like, "Okay, I'll
well, they
just."
pushed me towards an endo
Yeah, yeah,
finally. So, but no,
eventually.
no. Okay, so this is gonna get weird. So, like, hear me out.
Okay, good.
I was literally buying insulin from Walmart because it was all I could afford. Because at the
Okay.
time, they were
Yeah.
selling their brand of like insulin of NNR for $25 a vial. And I don't think this is a twofold thing. Like, it's kind of grimy nowadays when you talk about that,
Mhm.
but like also like that's a very life-saving medicine that I feel
Yep.
like most people don't know about that they can get. And it's really weird to put like grace on Walmart's name that they did this because now other companies like I know Kroger's offering like insulin for like
Insulin.
$30 and stuff. These are all
Mhm.
Midwest companies. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with like
Yeah, yeah,
the
I'm from
whatever.
the Midwest, so
So
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah. So like that now that's all like accessible to people who are in like dire situations or may need the last case effort or whatever you want to call
Mhm,
that. And
mhm.
I think that that's like super important and that's information that people should know that they don't. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, no, we totally agree about accessibility here. We actually have, I don't know if you saw, we partnered with this nonprofit called Civica. It's a nonprofit pharma company, and
Okay.
they are going to be offering, I think it's vials at $55 for anybody.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
so just accessibility is a huge issue.
it's crazy. That's one of the
Yeah,
worst parts, like as an adult
yeah,
now and understanding what's wrong with me and obviously the industry, it sucks because like
yeah,
the quality of life going through the CGM to like a disposable pump is unbelievable. Like
yeah.
it's so good. But like I know there's people out there who can't do
Can't
this,
do it.
who isn't covered or can't afford it or whatever.
Yeah,
And like this is kind of what got me back to the charity stuff anyways, because I want to be I don't know, involved or be able to help other people achieve that quality of life.
I love
Like that's
that.
my personal belief, at least. Like
Yeah.
who knows if it's true or not, but
I love that. No, and especially too, even outside of the US, it takes forever for people to get those devices too because they're going through
right,
NHS or they're going through their whatever providers that they work through. So that's really
right,
tough.
right.
I would totally agree. You said it so well. Why am I here? I don't even need to be here. It's
I'm the
just
music guy. You're the social media person. That's
I'm a social
I can
media
just
girly.
well, I mean, that's your thing, right? You're the stream host.
I feel so old though, Chris. You're saying you
Tell
feel
me about
old?
it. Yeah. You don't it's I put on a good I look young. We'll just say
Your
that. We'll
picture,
go
you
with
look
that.
really young in your picture.
That's the one thing I got going for me. So
You look
that's
young. Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
actually
fine with
don't know
that.
his age, by the way, Chad. I have no idea. No
They
idea.
know. The ones who know me know. They know. It's fine.
Oh yeah, so we had
So
Larsenio, who is my boss that I talked about earlier. Wow, family was dialed in on healthcare. Yeah, you had a huge advantage there.
yeah,
Um,
it probably saved a lot, helped me a lot rather,
yes,
I guess I should
yeah,
say.
yeah, and just to have them have that clinical understanding as well, because half of the issue too with type 1 is like your kid gets diagnosed, and all of a sudden you have to learn about something you've never heard about before, probably, and
Right.
be up to maybe doing calculations when you need to, understanding all these pieces on top of managing your kids' emotions and
Oh
helping
yeah.
them through this really, really hard time.
It's
So,
really strange, like to when you bring that up, is a good point though, because like I don't think people view diabetes as like a serious disorder
no,
in the seriousness that it should be treated, I guess is what I should say.
right?
Like it can be, uh, very bad. It can get very bad very quickly and without understanding.
Mhm.
And I mean, like you always have to be prepared as somebody who lives with it. You always have to have something. You have to have your snacks. You have to have your
Yeah,
medicine. Like it's not something that you can just be like, I'll be all right, whatever. Like
right.
it's definitely something. And then, like, again, learning about it and the stress from dealing with a child, like it is very similar to other disabilities, and people just don't seem to ever really like consider that. So.
Another one that kind of just goes to the wayside until you encounter it, or it gets
Right.
lumped in with this diabetes in general. Like, oh, you
Yeah,
can't have
that's
cake.
yeah, that's a personal annoyance, big
I
time.
bet. So
I
wait,
I
I
I, I
have
don't.
two questions then. Two questions.
Okay.
First, what's in your go bag? Because you were just mentioning how you can't do your life without having the stuff. So what's in your go bag?
The stuff that I always keep with me is I'll keep like fruit snacks, and like little
What
Debbie
brand?
snacks.
Do you
Oh,
have like a go-to brand or does it
I think
matter?
it's Welch's. Welch's is like the only
Welch's.
one. Yeah, I
That's
can't
the
do
one.
like everyone's like, oh, Gushers are great. I'm like, no,
Oh, I
Gushers are
hate
gross. Like,
Gushers. Ugh.
and like it's really weird because I'm having this like revival of like childhood foods
Oh
that when I
yeah.
was a kid, before I went to bed, because you would take your long acting insulin, I'd be like, hey, I need to have like cereal, orange juice, or like Oreo cookies. And that was like it. That was the three options my
Nice.
entire life, dude. So it's like I got so sick of like Oreos for so long that I just stopped eating them for like 10 years. And now they're like coming back and I'm like, okay, these are awesome again. So
Wow, that's funny. Oh my
but
God.
yes, Welch's fruit snacks. I
Yeah.
keep like oatmeal cream pies. I usually have like a soda or
No
two.
cream
And
pies. Oh,
yeah,
I haven't
that's
had one of those in forever. Oh
those
my
are my
God.
my go-tos.
Do you like an oatmeal raisin cookie then?
I do.
Oh,
I
that's
feel
my
like I'm the
favorite
only
cookie.
person. Nobody else. My wife
It's
is
my
always like, I want to
favorite
make.
cookie.
Yeah, yeah, right. She's like, I want to make cookies. I'm like, you're gonna make oatmeal, right? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh my
Chocolate
God.
chip has had its day. Okay.
It's yeah.
What is your biggest like pet peeve when someone comes to you and they don't know?
I really hate people who lump type 1 and type 2 together. Like it's the same
Yep.
thing where it's like, I feel that like, oh, you can just eat better. Like, dude, I've heard that so many times. And like, it literally boils my blood so
Ooh.
much because it's like, you literally can't like, stop
Yeah.
talking. Like you're ignorant to the situation. And like,
Right.
I'm willing to like teach and reach out and tell people whatever, if they're willing to learn. But man, if you start, you start the topic with something like that, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
and I hear it, I still hear it today. Like I work with people that do it, and it's like, oh my God, like, and then they get mad when I because I'll mess with them because they know it's like a gripe of mine or whatever. So I'll be like, all
Yeah.
right, so you're a fake diabetic then, you know what I mean? And then they get mad back. So it's like, why, you know what I mean? Like I can pull those strings just as well as you guys can do it,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's like at the end of the day, we know we're messing around, but man,
Yeah.
it can get hot over the dumbest, you know.
Do are people like susceptible to you telling them like when it actually like if someone's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like do you come back and like try to inform them more or cuz some people get burnt out from having to always explain their disease to people. And so they're just like they give them the bare minimum and move along, which I totally understand. So I'm wondering on what spectrum you are
I
of
think
educating.
I don't, it depends. I think there's a time and a place for it. And I think
Mhm.
doing it at the right time and the right place is more effective than randomly doing it. So
Yeah.
like when that happens in person, I generally don't like, I don't want to, I'm not going to like say, I guess I'll just be like, that's not how it works. And I guess
Mhm.
what I would like to think is true is you witnessing the consequences of like a low blood sugar or
Right.
something. Cause like you clearly know something is not right.
Right.
Or like when,
Point.
if you visually see that happening, it's going to be much more effective
Yeah.
in understanding than
You're gonna
just
remember
me
that in
telling
your
you, I guess.
mind,
Right, yeah,
associating it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for better or worse, but yeah, like
Yeah.
you can understand the seriousness of it in that way.
So with your devices on, are they on your arms or are they hidden?
One's on my arm. Well, it's on this one now. I just switched last night. So one's on my
Yeah.
arm and one's on my stomach.
Um, if do people come up to you in the wild and are like, "Oh my God, are you a type 1 diabetic?" Like, has that happened
No,
to you?
I think it's only ever happened once. And
Once?
oddly enough, it was at like a live event for like vaporwave stuff or like I
Oh, wow.
guess music stuff. Like I think maybe once or twice ever. So I mean I like to think that that's a good thing that people were like I guess maybe let me bring up the fact that like I was looking on like one of my friends had posted like a fan art thing, and I saw the character that they had drawn had a CGM on. I was like,
Oh,
holy,
cool.
like this is a thing that's penetrating like pop culture now. Like,
Yeah.
so like
I love that.
maybe it surprised me seeing it being represented. And again, with the Barbie thing was a thing that had happened right
I was gonna
when we
ask you
did
if you
our
saw
thing.
Barbie.
Yeah, yeah, that was like, I mean, the
We
news
love
dropped like I think literally the
Barbie.
day before or whatever, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is cool that this is happening, and maybe it'll lead to a better understanding finally from
There were
like the
so
general
many
public.
comments that were like, "Oh, we have work to do." On some of those posts, if
It's
you just scroll, it's like
yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
to like
It
CNN
sucks.
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it just shows, but Barbie was like probably one of the best things that we've done.
Yeah, it's huge. That's
Yeah.
amazing, honestly. Like that was like because I don't know what relevance culturally, like what culturally relevant, can't say this right. How much relevance Barbie has culturally currently.
Yes.
I know it's a timeless toy, but like when
Yes.
I was younger, the issues of like
There's
race
some
and profession
nostalgia
of
part of
women
it.
and stuff, like it was a very big deal when Barbie would
Mhm.
enter these like spaces of not normal acceptance.
Yep.
And like, I guess it's like my time in the limelight that you see this now or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it's very cool to see again, like just seeing people drawing fan art with it because you know that person who drew it has affected what by it or
Right.
or knows, and then
They're
big
showing other
Mattel or
people.
whatever doing that. So like it's getting there. We're getting to
Yeah.
a place of better understanding.
Yeah, I think we've collected, we know of, I think of like 30 games with type 1 diabetes, either represented or a connection from like a
Oh,
dev
really?
side that we
Okay.
put on our website. Like, I don't know if you saw The Sims, they have medical wearables now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that got inspired because someone in our community posted a video of them doing their change.
Okay.
And that person knew a Sims developer who then was like, "Oh," and like asked them more questions about it, and then they decided to add it into the next iteration of The Sims. It
Okay.
was so
That's
cool.
pretty. Well, The Sims has like this it's extremely like diehard
Yes.
following fan base too, which is
Yes.
like crazy to me. I think it's great because it's so niche and hyper
So
focused or
niche.
whatever, but like it's very cool.
Yeah,
So that's
it's very
awesome.
cool. Has there been, we're talking about kind of representation a little now, like has there been a different instance where you've seen it be represented correctly or a way you're like, "Oh, okay, that's
I
cool."
mean, I can't really, just the ones like I said I've mentioned, but it's never been, I don't know, maybe it's just me not focusing on it or looking for it, but I've never really
Sure.
like reached out to like look for representation. I've never
Yeah.
wanted to be seen as somebody who needed like charity or help or whatever you want to call that. I
Mhm.
always feel like, I could take care of myself. I can do work just like anybody else type of thing. Like and like I'm assuming most everyone with this goes through that phase or
Oh,
whatever. So
sure. Yeah.
but like it's never been something that I've ever, I guess, looked for. And if I come across seeing it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I don't know. I never really. It's almost hypocritical to say that there should be more awareness. At the same time, I don't look for it. But like
Oh,
it's
sure.
weird. It's a very weird like
Got it.
to think about it. You know what I
That
mean?
makes
Like
sense.
because I do think it's good. Maybe for like younger, like like kids who
For
get
sure.
diagnosed or whatever. Like that's extremely important, I think. But
Of
like
course.
for somebody my age or older or whatever, it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm just uh, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Or
It hasn't
I
found your algorithm.
no. Honestly the only stuff I ever see is from you guys, and it's
I
like
love that. That's even
I mean
better.
that's well no, I mean that's what you're there for, right?
Yeah, that is 100%
So
what we're there for.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh, I love that. Gosh. Yeah, the Barbie was so much fun. We had a great time with Barbie. Now it's like, what's next? Like something else I was gonna ask you about is like, because you were talking a lot about how you did it all on your own. You didn't need your endo and all of this stuff. Like, what do you consider a success when it comes to managing type 1? Like, what do you think is like a good day? Like, are there certain numbers you aim for? Is it a feeling? Like, what is it that you see as success when you're managing your type 1?
if we're going like day to day, if I don't have to hear my Dexcom yell at me, then it's
Yeah,
a good day. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I don't have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with low blood sugar, then it's a good day.
a good
Like
day.
those are it's almost trivial or almost like what do you call it? Like almost if it's one day at a time almost, right? Like I
Mhm.
don't like you obviously have to plan and be ready for whatever the world's going to throw at you.
Mhm.
It's very cliche, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But like
Yeah.
day to day is just, eat right, dose right, get a good night's sleep and then just kind of go. Like I don't that to me is if I don't have to, if I don't hit high, you know what I mean? If I don't get
Mm-hmm.
low, if I just kind of, if everything goes right and I hit the right numbers and I'm just in that 100 to 150 zone, like that's a win. Like
Yeah.
that's where I want to be. You know, obviously things happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's only so much control you can do, but yeah,
Right.
if we just do a day with no alarms, no lows, no highs, like that's a win. And they're all good. You know what I mean? They're not, one is not better than another.
Right. Right.
So
Um, I was also going to ask you, like, because you talked a little bit earlier about how kind of like you travel and stuff a lot. I think you talked about that before we went on.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so managing your type 1 while doing all your traveling and things, are there weird instances where like something has made you go high that you didn't expect or you just don't know, or like, some people are like, I can't take a hot shower without going high. Like some people have these weird things that happen to them regardless. Do you have anything like that?
I think that really the only thing that I would say is I guess to me out of the ordinary is the weather change. Like when it starts to get cold, I feel
Oh,
like my insulin is more effective than usual for some reason. So like we went
dang.
from 70 degrees, 60 degrees nights, now we're down to like 30, 40 degrees nights here. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm definitely running, like I need to adjust my like balance of unit per,
Interesting.
I don't know, but it's always been a thing for me. I feel like when it
Yeah.
gets hotter, I have to take more. When it's colder, I take less.
There's got to be a reason for
Traveling,
that.
yeah, I've tried to look it up, and it's also very weird because like keeping insulin on your body now with like an Omnipod or whatever. I'm sorry, the AC just kicked on. If that's
Yeah,
annoying, I
I can't hear
apologize.
it. No, you're good.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say that has ever been like strange or travel wise is I tend to eat a lot of the same thing over and over and over because I know exactly what I'm going to be doing and how many carbs are going to be in this meal. And it's like when I submit my like expenses for work, they're like, "Man, you eat at Wendy's a lot." And it's like, "Yeah, dude, I don't really want to, but like, you know, I know this food's terrible, but I know exactly what it's going to
Wendy's a
be."
lot.
So
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Wendy's.
I mean, it's probably better than some of the others.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
It's
don't know.
so
What's your
yeah, no,
go-to
it's
Wendy's order? I have to. I have
oh
to now.
the junior bacon cheeseburger biggie bag.
Uh,
That's the
how
perfect
many
lunch for
carbs?
$5. It's like 120.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, okay, so maybe I don't I you know it's weird because like I don't know what I guess proper eating in budgeting carbs is supposed to be. That's something I've never really like learned, I guess,
Sure, sure.
properly. But like
Yeah.
having the ability to just take whatever insulin I want to cover whatever I eat now has, in my opinion, I know this is probably going to sound terrible, like almost rendered that almost not obsolete, but like obviously
Mm-hmm.
eating properly is a very good thing and you should do that. But like
Yeah.
I know I can drink a soda now and take 2 units of insulin or something. And,
Sure.
you know, I don't have to suffer Diet Mountain Dew for the next 30 years of my life, which is how I grew up. So, you know,
Oh, that's
I,
funny.
I it sounds dumb, but I kind of like to, I don't know, I like to treasure this stuff that I didn't have for so long with just
Yeah.
because technology and medical advancement has gotten us to that
Giving you the
point. So,
opportunity. No, I
yeah,
total like our community actually recently were talking about like kind of their guilty pleasures that like, and like pizza is one of them. Like it's
yeah. Oh,
like all of a sudden it's hours later and you're still trying to figure it out and balance it.
yeah,
And it's like you have to be able to enjoy your life too. Like you can't just sit there and
right.
like only eat the things you're supposed to eat all the time, regardless if you're a type 1 diabetic or not.
I don't think people understand like maybe it's not true now, but when I was growing up, I don't think people understand how bad diet soda was and how like
Yeah.
flavorless sugar-free
They
candy
thought
and
it was
stuff like that.
fun.
It was
Yeah.
just it was not like if those people could experience what I experienced then, it was like you
Yeah.
would it still blows my mind to this day when people are like, "Yeah, I drink Diet Coke and Diet Mountain Dew." And I'm like, "How?" Like it's just
It's your
unreal to me
go-to.
because I cannot
Yeah.
like I can't look at that
Yeah.
stuff because of what I don't know.
You're
It's very
triggered.
weird.
Do you think it'll
Yeah.
ever come back around though? Like Oreos? You
I
never
mean,
know.
well, yeah, there's I've always I think it's more of like a personal like hunt. Like I want to find
Yeah.
that diet soda that actually is like good. So like you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
if I could find something that's like, man, this is as good as Coke or whatever you want to, you know, like yeah, that would be great. So I still try it, you know.
Obviously, you've had T1D for a while. We were talking about how a lot of things have changed. What gives you hope?
Being living I guess living through like the advancements like I have this is so weird because when it comes to like we were discussing before like video games I have core memories and like diabetes
Yeah.
stuff I have core memories of stuff and it's like you know when I was young there were like insulin pumps or whatever and I was like I don't want to wear all of that like there was tubes and but it's pervasive I believe is the word it just seemed like it was so much like I would never want to have that attached to me. And like now I can just put a little, credit card size thing on me that
Hmm.
doesn't have stuff anywhere. It works for 3 days and it effectively like will take care of me to an extent. So like seeing my I guess it's my perception of the willingness to try this stuff. Because like again, a full blown insulin pump I never would have done, but like an Omnipod, I'm all in. So like if this technology keeps evolving and keeps getting better and keeps getting more reliable, like we'll eventually get there. Like even if it's like an external pancreas, but we'll get there. Like
Hmm.
we'll get to the point where we can be. You obviously want a cure, you want a solution, but like in the meantime, certain companies are trying to do what they can do to make this as
Yeah.
easily manageable as possible. And like living through that, like being part of that, like almost revolution is like, it's pretty
Hmm.
cool to see. And it's exciting to see what's next. Cause even just through like the three generations of like freestyle, there was massive changes and, like you see it, like it's literally just years, like a few years of progress and it's going to keep getting better. So yeah, that's the hope.
It's really exciting. Especially too, like even delaying onset. Like there's a drug
Yeah.
now you can take that can delay it up to like 4 years, 4 or 5 years,
Yeah, I've
which
heard
is
about
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
I need to.
Teplizumab. I learned how to say the whole name and then they shortened it to Zealed. The
Oh wow.
audacity.
Wow. Yeah, no, I
Mm-hmm.
think I read about that recently. I didn't get too into it. I feel like I should. I should probably understand what's going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a huge thing.
I'll have to send you some stuff after the stream. Hey there, Chris, huge fan of DDB. Ordered
Oh,
some
hey, all
records in the
right.
past. I love them. Keep doing what you do. That's
See?
right.
That's
Hello,
why I'm
Renegade.
here. I mean,
Hi. You're
yes,
like, hi.
hello.
Yeah, it's me.
It's
Oh, hey,
weird. This is what I'm
Dark.
saying. I love that like people are willing to
You have
like
a lot of
come and
fans.
I try. I like putting out music that I like. I
Yeah.
like releasing things and I want the world to experience the same things that I get to
It feels
experience.
very
So
genuine. It feels very like you. You know what I mean? Like that's the
yeah, yeah.
experience you get.
I,
The Chris
that's what
experience.
I like to put off.
Yeah.
It's as real as it is. I don't release things that I don't like, and I would never try to put people onto things that I don't think are worth your time.
We do need to talk a little bit because we talked offline. Um, but we do need to talk about games a little bit because you
Okay,
said that so you need to explain to chat, obviously you're not gaming as much as anymore and we'll forgive you for that
that's
because you're
fine.
busy
I
in
try.
life, but talk
Yes.
a little bit more about what you used to play growing up.
Okay, so this is always weird when I because every time I do interviews, it's always like we're gonna talk about this, and I'm like, oh, I start talking about it. I'm like, wait, I need to say this for later. But like, I always grew up with like very niche video game interests. Like, I was a kid, I had my NES, I got an NES, and it was like, oh my God, like, but like when I got my Nintendo, I didn't get like Mario like everyone else did. I had like Top Gun and Mike Tyson's Punch Out. So like, I don't know
Mike
how
Tyson?
like I don't know how this happened, but like the first games I remember playing are the ones that didn't come with with the system. But I mean, I loved them anyway. Or like Stinger, it was like an old
Yeah,
Konami
singer,
like
yeah.
side-scrolling shooter. I loved like I think it's called Twin Bee in Japan or whatever. Whatever. Love those games. I
Wow.
still love those games. And like
Mhm.
I got a Super Nintendo. I remember staying up all night. Like we rented it from like a Blockbuster at the time or something. Like this is how
Yeah.
old I am. So we stayed up all night playing Mario. That was when I first got into like the experience. But the
Mhm.
one that really, if you want to go with like nostalgia, the one that really stuck with me is like the Sega CD. Like Sega CD was the first
Mhm.
system that I was like, it's full of slop. The games are absolute slop now. Like the full motion video stuff did not age well at all. But like as a
No.
child, watching this 180p video on my screen, like full motion video of these horribly cheesy actors doing it was crazy. It was like it was generational to
Yeah.
me. Like I had
Of
only known
course.
pixel sprites of like, Mario,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, stuff like that. And then you're like Sonic the Hedgehog. And then you're seeing people on your TV through the video game. It's like, this is insane. Like
Right.
uh that to me was crazy. Games like, I mean, I know controversial Night Trap and like Ground Zero Texas and Sewer
Sure.
Shark, like all these like horrible games and Double Switch. Like anyone who knows this stuff is gonna be like, man, you're crazy. But like to me, those were like they
Yeah.
still are great games.
I
A
love
lot
how
of
it's
the
like off the beaten path, even from
yeah,
early on. Like,
it's
that's
what's
awesome.
it is also like again all the niche Sega stuff, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. Like I was very into these weird systems that other people just didn't care about at the time. And this is when they were relevant. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
nostalgia thing that I had to go back and find. But like
Right.
it's funny to almost connect this back to the music thing. And I know that we're not doing that, but like there's like this very deep appreciation of like Dreamcast music from like Fantasy Star
Right.
games that came out on there that like they're very, very well loved in the scene where people will still take them and sample them and slow them down and chop them up. And like it's very common to see Dreamcast stuff getting hit or like,
Yeah.
and I still see people talking about the Night series of like the Sega Saturn stuff, like Nights in the Dreams and all that. Like it's just, I don't know. I feel like with our position in music, like if you grew up with this stuff and you see somebody else making music like that, you're like, man, we're like, this is a thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like you have that connection without even
Right.
knowing these people. Like there's people who do mixtapes of just Final Fantasy 11 music, and it's like this is incredible. Like I played that
Really?
game for like, you know what I mean? Like
Oh
there's
my
stuff
God,
like
that
that.
sounds
And though,
awesome.
yeah, there's a lot of fun, a lot of video game relevance, a lot of, of video game relevance.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense for,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same user
yeah.
base or whatever you want to call it, demographic, you know what I mean?
It's almost like you've
So
gone from like gaming to vaporwave.
yeah, I mean, it fits. It's
Yeah, it
very
does
very
fit.
similar. It's almost I'm like realizing it now because I talk about it before, but every time it pops up, it's like, yeah, this is totally true. So
Yeah. It's cool though. I love that. A lot of Dreamcast fans still out there.
it was a legend. It was a you
Mm-hmm.
again. It was. I feel like it's all these systems. Sega was like, I don't know, running before they were walking. They were throwing everything at the wall and trying all kind of
Yeah,
crazy stuff. Like
that's
Dreamcast
true.
had online capabilities. I remember begging my mom. I was like, I need to play Fantasy Star Online. Like, you need to pay for this subscription service for me. Like I have to do this. Like, you know, and like Sega again, Sega CD before it
I
had like the
cannot
full
live
motion
without
video.
this.
So yeah, it's that was I mean I would take it to my friend's house and be like, hey, do you guys have a modem that I you know or a
Yeah, yeah,
phone line
yeah,
that I could
yeah.
hook up to my it was different times back then.
Yeah. Can you imagine being a parent during that time and just having no clue? I would be like,
I, right.
I don't
I
even
want
know.
if I ever have kids, like I want this to happen because like I get this. I understand this
Yeah.
100%. But like at the time, you know, my parents had no this is all new stuff. Like the internet and
Mm-hmm.
computers and all this. It was like, yeah, like it's crazy.
Crazy
Like
times
they
to
would
be
have no
alive.
idea. Like what who am I giving my credit card to? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's
Or
so
like, or even how do we do that? How do I pay for this? Like,
right,
and
exactly.
you're like teaching them. Yeah, yeah. That's so funny.
But yeah, like little like 12 to 15-year-old Chris is
Yeah.
explaining like I need your credit card to do this so I can play video
Listen,
games with strangers on the internet. Like,
I promise it's safe. I
yeah,
promise.
100%.
Don't worry about it.
Just like going outside, same thing, you know? Like it's
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
uh,
Eh. Sega Channel requiring a cable subscription. Yeah.
okay, that's another one. Okay, listen, you don't want to go down this rabbit hole with me because like when I was a kid, I had the Genesis, but our service area couldn't have Sega Channel, but my cousins could. So we would
Oh
always go to their
man.
house and I would play the stuff on Sega Channel because I couldn't
Dang.
get it. So I my niche Sega interests are very on point.
Dreamcast, first console, Dark Insanities. I told
All right.
you. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good start.
yeah.
Again, it's a legend. I still have mine. I still have a ton of games for it. I still play
Yeah.
Fantasy Star. Like it's still a thing. So
I love that so much. I feel like we could have a whole stream where you're just talking about all this, that stuff
I
specific.
I, I can ramble for probably way longer than you want
No, this is really
about.
entertaining actually.
Okay, I'm
Um,
glad.
so we are getting to the end of the hour though, and I would be remiss if I did not ask this question because we actually ask this question to every single guest that we have on T1D Tuesday. So if there is one thing you could say to your younger self, 5 years old, having just been diagnosed with type 1
And
diabetes, what would you say?
it gets better. It's gonna get better. Listen to the people who know because they're people are not helping you for their health. They're helping you because they want you to be better. So like respect the people who have interest in taking care of you, who are telling you, and things are going to get better. It may take a while, but there's always hope. Always have hope and be ready for change because it'll get better.
Love that. The be ready for change too. And that
Yeah,
people are just trying to help you. They're not, this isn't
it's
nothing nefarious, nothing, they don't want to be doing this,
it's hard
making
to
it annoying
accept.
for
I
you.
mean, as a yeah, as a kid, you know everything, and through the various
Yes.
stages of growing up, you don't want nobody to tell you anything. So
Right. Yeah. And it's also kind of double-sided because it's like the experts are also kind of your parents. So
you're
that's
right, right, yeah,
it's not some like other authority figure. It's literally like your parents. So
right,
that had to be
exactly.
kind of tough too. That's like if my husband's a physician and if he tells me
Yeah,
something, I'm like, I don't believe you. I'll go to my primary care doctor and he'll say the same thing. He'll be like, I told you that already. I'm like, well,
yeah,
I don't know what you know. Who do you think you are? You know?
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was so lovely and so great to get to know you. And I'm sure chat feels the same way and probably could talk about, Sega and all that for much
Oh
longer.
my God.